You've seen the headlines, right? It feels like every single day there's a new story about generative AI. One article is promising this incredible future of productivity, and then the next one is warning about massive job losses. It's a lot, and it's happening so fast. So what's the real story here? Let's try to cut through all that noise and see what's actually going on with AI's impact on our work.
So yeah, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is this new technology going to be a partner that frees us up from all the boring stuff and lets us be more creative? Or is it a rival that's going to eventually make us obsolete? The truth, as you're about to see, is way, way more complicated than just one or the other. Okay, let's start with the good news, the optimistic side of things, because honestly, the numbers we're seeing are genuinely staggering. Businesses, researchers, they're all seeing this massive surge in efficiency wherever AI gets plugged in. It's leading a lot of smart people to say we are right on the edge of a whole new industrial revolution.
So what does that surge actually look like? Well, when you look across a bunch of academic studies, you see an average productivity boost of 23% wherever these new AI tools are put to work. Now that's not a tiny little gain. That is a huge leap forward in how much work can get done.
And it's not just about getting more done. It could be about earning more too. Get this, the 2025 PwC Global AI Jobs Barometer is predicting that jobs that require AI skills could come with a 56% wage premium. A 56%. That suggests that learning how to work with AI could be one of the smartest career moves any of us can make right now.
And look, this isn't just hype coming from the tech companies themselves. The people running major corporations are overwhelmingly convinced. Forbes found that a massive 96% of C-suite executives are betting big on AI to make their companies more efficient. The buy-in from the very top, it's definitely there.
Okay, so the picture so far looks pretty rosy, right? More productivity, higher wages, better businesses. What's not to love? Well, this is only half the story. Because all those gains in efficiency, they come with a flip side. And it's a side that directly impacts people in the workforce. Because when you start to peel back the layers of this AI revolution, you find a much more challenging reality for a lot of employees. You see, for every task that gets automated, a whole new kind of pressure can pop up, creating stress, uncertainty, and a really fundamental shift in what it even means to have a job.
And here's the trade-off, and it's a big one. AI is fantastic at handling the routine, repetitive, frankly boring stuff. But what that means is that human workers are increasingly left with the much harder job of overseeing, troubleshooting, and managing these incredibly complex AI systems. That often leads to more stress and way more demanding roles, but not always with more pay to match.
And of course, there's the fear of losing your job. This isn't some far-off, hypothetical thing. The numbers show it's already happening. 37% of business leaders admitted that AI replaced workers just last year, and 44% are expecting more layoffs this year. And this is hitting the next generation too. We're already seeing a 13% drop in employment for some entry-level jobs, making it that much harder for young people to even get started in their careers.
Now, zooming out from individual jobs, there's a risk to the whole economy. Experts from the International Labor Organization are warning that the benefits of AI could get soaked up by just a few dominant superstar firms. These companies can use AI to just pull way ahead of their competitors, concentrating wealth and power, and making that gap between the haves and the have-nots even wider.
So we've got these two powerful competing stories, a productivity utopia on one hand and a future of inequality and job loss on the other. But what's happening on the ground, right now? Let's do a quick reality check and see how far AI adoption has actually come. For all the talk, the truth is we are still in the super early days. This data shows that over half, 52%, of large U.S. organizations are still just experimenters. They're just testing the waters, exploring AI, but they haven't fully integrated it. Less than half feel like their AI adoption is anywhere near mature. And actually putting AI into practice, it's hard. Like really hard. In fact, on average, a pretty staggering 46% of AI projects failed to even meet their goals. This is not a simple plug-and-play technology. Getting it right is a huge challenge for companies.
And maybe this is one of the biggest roadblocks of all. How do you even know if your AI strategy is working? Almost half of organizations, 41%, admit they struggle to define or measure the value that AI is creating. And if you can't prove there's a clear return on investment, it's pretty hard to justify scaling up.
So here's the bottom line. The future isn't set in stone. The The technology itself doesn't decide if we get the promise or the peril. The outcome is going to be determined by the choices that we make, as individuals, as companies, and as a society.
So, what's the game plan? Well, the International Labor Organization has laid out a pretty clear four-part framework. First up, support workers through things like retraining. Second, make sure there's fair competition so we don't end up with monopolies. Third, strengthen our social safety nets to help people through the transition. And finally, foster cooperation to make sure the huge profits from this technology are shared broadly, not just kept by a few.
And this brings us to a really fascinating twist. As AI takes over more of the technical, repetitive tasks, you know what the most valuable skills are becoming? The most uniquely human ones. We're not all going to have to become expert coders. Instead, things like communication, teamwork, emotional intelligence, and complex problem-solving, they are becoming more important than ever.
So when you boil it all down, it really comes to this. We have this incredibly powerful new tool in our hands. And instead of just passively sitting back and waiting to see what it does to us, we have a real opportunity to decide what we want it to do for us. How do we steer this thing to build a future of work that's more productive, sure, but also more equitable and more human? The answer to that? Well, that's up to all of us.